Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another installment of Mutant Monday. The last few weeks we've been talking about the Messiah Trilogy as well as the events that led up to it. And today we'll be mostly wrapping things up by covering X-Men Second Coming. But before we get into Second Coming, where did we leave off in the trilogy? Where we left off was Messiah War. X-Force had been sent to the future to help Cable protect Hope, the mutant Messiah, from a combined attack from both Bishop and his new ally Strife. They pulled this off barely with the unlikely assistance of all people, Apocalypse. However, of course, and X-Force went back to return to the present. What's happened since? X-Force continued their campaign against various anti-mutant groups, but also discovered the return of many prominent anti-mutant figureheads. Bolivar Trask, the creator of the Sentinels, Stephen Lang, another Sentinel enthusiast, Graydon Creed, leader of the Friends of Humanity, Cameron Hodge, leader of the Right, and Bastion, the combined form of Nimrod and Mastermold, who spearheaded Operation Zero Tolerance in the aftermath of Onslaught. Other things that have occurred. The immortal mutant Selene made a bid for godhood and was defeated by the X-Men. She brought back tons of dead mutants to serve her. Totally not at all similar in any way, shape, or form to the DC crossover Blackest Night. Totally dissimilar. Nothing even remotely similar in the two. Not at all. The New Mutants reformed for other things that occurred in the Marvel Universe since then. Since Messiah War. Steve Rogers was found to not be dead, but simply lost in time. Again, totally unlike what happened to a certain Cape Crusader from the Distinguished Competition. Totally unlike that. But anyway, Steve Rogers teamed up with the Avengers and the Secret Warriors and defended Asgard when it was besieged by the forces of Norman Osborn and Hammer, as well as the various villains that Osborn had gathered to his side. Osborn did this because, well, hey, the way Loki described it sounded like a good idea. In the aftermath, Steve Rogers was named director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and basically top superhero in the country, and the Registration Act was done away with. And yes, that actually is kind of important for things that happen in this, so yeah. Anyway, let's get on to Second Coming. So we begin with the one-shot Second Coming #1. Oh, that's another thing that's happened. Hope and Cable had managed to elude Bishop finally and strand him in the year 6700 AD with no time machine. So the story begins with Hope and Cable arriving at the remains of the Xavier Institute. Hope wondering if they... Hope kind of curious as to, whether or not they're in the right time or not, because, well, it's wrecked. However, they don't have long to rest as they're promptly attacked by a squad of Smileys, armored soldiers of the aforementioned Right. Back on Utopia, Cyclops is going over the death toll from Selene's attack. It stands at 3. Namor doesn't think any of this is worth noting, though Cyclops kind of does put into perspective that these 3 deaths are 1.5% of the remaining mutant population. However, as things go on, the Sephard Cuckoos enter the room and inform Cyclops that Cerebro has found a signal. It's a signal that Cerebro has a match for. Cable. So, Cyclops gets everything set up. Domino and Vanish are in San Francisco. Basically with Domino being told to sit tight, wait for orders. Rogue and Namor at Utopia to cover in place in case of an attack. And while it's pointed out that Namor won't like being left at Utopia to defend, well, if he's told that he's the most powerful X-Man that they've got and they need him here to save everyone, well, he'll definitely be game. Teleporters are being prepared to move people off the island if need be. The New Mutants are taking the Blackbird to basically a holding pattern above the new Midwest, which will be able to get them anywhere in North America within minutes. However, not the entire New Mutant squad is not going on this mission, as Illyana has been transferred to Cyclops' Alpha roster, which consists of Wolverine, Colossus, Psylocke, Angel, X-23, Nightcrawler, and, for the moment, Illyana. Magic. Back at Xavier's, the fight between Cable and the Smileys is not doing well. They're pinned down, but they are at least making some headway. They found a weakness in the Smiley's armor, and once they take down the Smileys, when they barely get a chance to look at the armor, operatives from the Sapien League show up. Cable, however, has managed to mask his signal. Pixie teleports the Alpha roster as well as herself and Magic teleports the Alpha roster with the addition of Cyclops and Pixie to the school. To look over the scene. And so they managed to figure out where the Sapien League is chasing Cable. Well, where Cable and Hope, as well as the Sapien League, are exactly, and the X-Men teleported via Magic's teleportation discs, and promptly give the Sapien League what for, with Wolverine and X-23 interrogating some of the members, though when one interrogation goes a bit far for Nightcrawler's liking, he stops it and realizes that there's something going on that he's not been privy to. Back in Washington, Bastion calls forth his generals, like Stephen Lang, Bolivar Trask, William Stryker, Graydon Creed, and Cameron Hodge, and gives them their orders. Primary directive is simple: kill Hope. Which brings us to part 2. Hope and Cable are in a something akin to a Walmart, trying to hide. They've had to take down some anti-mutant forces, and they steal a vehicle and head out. Back with the X-Men, Nightcrawler is still fuming about what's going on, and Wolverine begins to come clean, explaining that Bastion, Stryker, Lang, Trask, Hodge, and Creed are all back. And they've been waiting for Cable and Hope that entire time. And Nightcrawler's not too happy about things, and obviously quit the team, saying that, perhaps Beast was right to do so, especially realizing that Cyclops has sanctioned the activities of Wolverine. However, Colossus manages to talk him into sticking around for the moment, at least. And, well, telepathically, Nightcrawler and Cyclops have a discussion about what's going on, and, yeah, it's not happy. The New Mutants, however, have discovered something off of Interstate 80, a camera feed from a foodway. Big guy with a young unregistered teenager. Before the camera was disabled and the store was robbed. That night, Cable and Hope stay in an actual hotel, and Hope's actually kind of enjoying things. As Stryker enacts various contingency plans, it is explained that there are 4 towers he's working on, though for what, it's unclear. Cable uses his cybernetic arm to interface with dial-up internet with the internet via a phone line, and all communications in the area get cut off. Power following soon thereafter. The New Mutants have discovered this, and Cyclops passes on the information to Wolverine and his team. And turns out it's a squad of purifiers waiting on Cable and Hope. And then the X-Men get involved and kind of even up the odds a bit. Meanwhile, Cyclops has given the New Mutants a mission. They found a base for the right, and they're going to go in and, well, do what damage they can. They utilize Karma's quasi-telepathic abilities to gain intel on the base. Back with the X-Men, Purifiers begin working with their using their contingency plans for teleporters. First, taking out Magic, causing one of her teleportation discs to open and drag her inside. Then they go up against Nightcrawler using perception Perception concussors. Ah. Cable and Hope get in a truck and hit the road, with Hope wondering, why are they leaving the X-Men? What's wrong? Cable realizes that there's something not safe with the X-Men at the moment. Back with the New Mutants. They basically they wreck house, and in the middle of it, Hodge takes on his more familiar biomechanical form. Back with the X-Men, Wolverine tells Angel that the fight is not going... It is going well, but it needs to end a bit faster than it will. And so Angel shifts into Archangel and promptly takes down the Purifiers and first cuts off one of William Stryker's hands, and then proceeds to seemingly use his wings to cut the man in half. Teleporter Ariel then shows up as Nightcrawler's having issues with teleporting. While Cable and Hope continue their way west. There's a brief interlude in the basically the prison of Utopia. And something is going on with Donald Pierce. The New Mutants are trying to take care of Hodge. His Smileys were not too much of a problem, but Hodge's biomech form, it kind of is. During the battle, Karma gets both of her legs impaled by Hodge. The next Rogue suggests suggests going out in the field to help Wolverine and his team find Hope, as it does seem that she and Hope do have an odd link. And so, she's sent out there. Back with the New Mutants, Cypher recently returned from the grave after the events of Necrotia, convinces Warlock, the techno-organic member of the New Mutants, that he has to steal the life forces of the right to, well, if the team's going to survive. Rogue manages to figure out where Hope is, and her and Nightcrawler go off. However, something has happened to Cerebro, and it's explained that Bastion has basically blinded the X-Men. They also know exactly where Wolverine's team of X-Men is, and they send a jet after them. Back with the New Mutants, Warlock steals life energy from Hodge's soldiers, informing Hodge that he will mourn their soldiers, but he will not mourn Hodge. The jet that Bastion sent out after the X-Men fires off a missile hitting one of the SUVs the team has borrowed. And while Archangel is able to destroy the jet, only 2 of the SUV's 3 passengers survived: Wolverine and X-23. Pixie volunteers, upon hearing the news that Ariel's been killed, Pixie volunteers to go out into the field to help the team. However, Cyclops turns her down, explaining that one, Nightcrawler's been through hell 1,000 times. Once Rogue finds Hope, Nightcrawler will get her here. Back with the New Mutants, we get the end of the fight between Warlock and Cameron Hodge, and Warlock wins by absorbing all of Hodge's life force. However, Cable and Hope have holed up in a former trailer park in Nebraska, but they've got company. However, the X-Men show up and, well, let's just say their company has been... The company that Cable and Hope have is now a bit more friendly. Wolverine explaining that the systems that Bastion and company are using to track Cable are full of techno-organic virus. The same one that Cable has, which is how Bastion's men have been able to track Cable and Hope. Like calls to like. And so, Hope leaves with Rogue and Nightcrawler. Rogue having borrowed the powers of Angel, Psylocke, Colossus, and from the looks of things, Wolverine and X-23. She's got X-23's foot claws as well as Wolverine's hand claws, so yeah. And so, Rogue, Hope, and Nightcrawler make their way towards California. With Bastion watching and tracking. Back with the New Mutants, having left the Wright's base, they're trying to make sure that that Karma survives her injuries, but they are headed back to Utopia. Part of that being that Cyclops has informed them that Hope is on her way to Utopia as well, so they're not really needed. That said, Dr. Nemesis has discovered 4 towers. They don't know. Neither he nor X Club can figure out what the 4 towers are for, but they figure their bastions work, and so there's some kind of asset. The X-Men are making their way west. Cutting through Bastion's forces. In Las Vegas, Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Hope stop for a moment so that Nightcrawler can catch his breath. After all, teleporting varying a handful of jumps from Nebraska to Vegas, that's gonna take its toll on someone. However, as they rest, Bastion arrives. Rogue is so far. Rogue armor utilizes Colossus' powers. And punches through Bastion's head. Then, as he repairs himself, she slices him up a bit. But High said she was borrowing the powers. Keep in mind, the adamantium claws that Wolverine has, the adamantium's not part of his powers. So, yeah, Bastion's able to crush the bones, and that hurts. Bastion does briefly manage to incapacitate Rogue. Having already incapacitated Nightcrawler, and makes a play for Hope. And Nightcrawler teleports in the way. His body reformed, basically materializing with Bastion's arm protruding from his chest. Nightcrawler says a quick prayer before grabbing Hope and teleporting her from Las Vegas to Utopia. He dies on the beach after telling Hope that he believes in her. The Alpha roster returns later on, met by the grim faces of Scott, of Cyclops, and Emma. X-23 asks who it was they lost. Wolverine doesn't even have to be told because he can already tell. Nightcrawler. In the meantime, Rogue has managed to make her way back to Utopia as well. And Bastion puts himself back together, well, in front of members of the Purifiers, as well as what looks to be Graydon and Creed. Moving on to back to Utopia. Karma's had to have her leg amputated. And another patient, Magneto, comes too. But he has the strangest feeling that something has happened that he's missed. Cyclops and Cable introduces Cyclops to Hope, and vice versa, explaining to Hope that Cyclops is his father. He also tells Cable to get Hope to sickbay because he wants them both checked out. They've been without medical care their entire lives, so it's not a request; it's an order. However, he has a friend to bury. Back in the prison, in the prison room of Utopia, Danger is going over various inmates. However, Donald Pierce is not there, though, as far as anyone, even Danger can tell, he is. Turns out Pierce is one of Bastion's operatives, And he's responsible for taking down Cerebra, as well as the X-Men's communications. Bastion explains that they've already begun removing teleporters from the board. So next they have to get rid of the X-Men's abilities to move off-site as a whole. He then orders Pierce to destroy the X-Men's planes. All of them. As the X-Men must not leave Utopia. Pierce notes that this is a suicide mission, but Bastion explains it's containment and tells him to be a good soldier and execute his mission. Cyclops assembles a team to head to go to Limbo to find Hope or Magic. And it's brought up that they should really, address the Bastion's towers. Sure, they don't know what they are, but they're Bastions, so it would stand to reason that they should, blow the damn things up. And so Cyclops orders X-Club to handle that. He also then makes a point of saying, no one blame Hope for Kurt's death. You want to blame someone? Blame me. In sickbay, while Cable's being checked out by Cecilia Reyes, Hope meets some of the other inhabitants. Kitty Pryde, who's in a decompression chamber of sorts, and Magneto. Of course, Cable was very much opposed to Hope talking to Cable, or to Magneto. Magneto figuring that the reason why Cable's opposed to this is that Cable doesn't know what Magneto's up to. They talk a bit. Magneto's heard about her, of course. And, basically, you're here now, right? You've come. Are people still trying to kill us? Has war ended? Hunger, disease, poverty, hate? Though she does kind of, jokingly add, she's only been here a couple days, so give her a week and maybe, However, she's interrupted by Angel arriving, explaining that they've got a few minutes, so they're going to have a service for Nightcrawler. Beast arrives, and in what is quite possibly one of the worst moments in this story. And I mean, it's a good story, but he, in front of everyone, tells Cyclops that Kurt's death is on you, plain and simple. Iceman performs the funeral. Xavier says a few words. Beast says a few words. Colossus. Storm. Angel. And Wolverine. Explaining that, Nightcrawler was the only one that ever looked me in the eye like a man, and spoke to me like one, and treated me like one. No matter what I did, or where I was, or how I felt. He was my best friend, he never treated me like a damn animal. And now he's gone. And for what? And He admittedly does direct some of his anger at Hope, explaining that she'd better be worth it. And Wolverine, Angel, Domino, and X-23 leave together. And that's where that chapter ends. After the funeral in San Francisco, actually before the funeral, it's explained that Cyclops is bringing Vanisher and Domino in, explaining that Ariel and Nightcrawler were killed in the field, and that their enemies are targeting their teleporters. If they have to relocate quickly, they'll need Vanisher there. Bastion doesn't like this at all because, yeah. He teleports to Portugal, the brothel that he frequents. Finds the girls that he frequents dead at the hands of Stephen Lang's Mutant Response Division. They shoot him and he teleports. As he's being shot, he teleports back to Utopia and dies. Warlock is still coming to terms with trying to forgive himself for what he did against the right. Beast has opted to stay for a little while to help out on Utopia. X-Club is investigating the towers when it appears they come online. In Utopia's mess hall, Moonstar and Hope get into a fight. Cyclops tries to break it up, but Cable just goes, hey, just let them have it. In the middle of the fight, however, there's an explosion. The X-Men go and discover their planes have all been destroyed by none other than Donald Pierce. A combined attack from Namor, X-23, and Cyclops finishes Pierce off. X-Club calls in, however, to say that the towers have activated and they're on a countdown. The countdown ticks down from 6 seconds to 5 to 4. Hope then explains to Cable that when she said she was ready to return to the present, maybe she lied. At Bastion's oil rig tower, X-Club makes their way out, realizing that the tower was a trap. They were played. Just as the tower explodes. Actually, all 4 towers exploded. Cyclops realizes that's part of the attack. Take out Cerebra, take out the teleporters, take out the Blackbirds. The X-Men are blinded and confined. A giant red sphere that forms over Colma, Oakland, San Rafael, encompassing a large portion of the Bay Area. Archangel's pinions won't cut through it. An ice ram from Iceman won't get through it. But Cyclops, his baby Namor, can punch his way through it. Turns out, Namor's the one who actually discovers that it's not. It's a sphere. Not a dome. Explain to Rockslide what's going on, but yeah. Basically, you've got everyone going to deal with, to at least help maintain calm in the city. However, on the Golden Gate Bridge, there's a portal opening. The members of X Club are outside the sphere trying to figure it out, learning that the sphere itself is quantum irresolvable. Scan it with an electron beam, it shows matter. Touch it with a probe and it's energy. It's a barricade that knows how to duck. Cue the arrival of the Avengers. Or, well, some of them at least. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, and Spider-Woman. Bucky recognizes Dr. Nemesis from a long time ago. Iron Man tries to scan the barrier. And Spider-Woman comments that the Avengers have a tool for indestructible barriers. Thor does object to Mjolnir being referred to as a tool and a gadget, though Spider-Man just told him to hit the barrier with the hammer already. And it does nothing. On the bridge, something is coming out of the portal. It's a Nimrod. And more follow. And so on the bridge, the X-Men, all of the X-Men, go up against wave after wave of Nimrods. Not entirely doing too well. Some fare better than others. Some are rather grievously wounded, including Hellion, who loses his hands. The X-Men are trying to figure out a means of stopping the constant Nimrods, but coming up with a whole lot of nothing. And so, a team is formed. Likely a one-way trip. This is the point when when Cyclops lets the cat out of the bag completely about X-Force. The assembled team ends up being Wolverine, Domino, X-23, Cypher, Archangel, and Cable. But there's one thing that Scott didn't mention about the mission at hand. It's a one-way trip. Of course, pisses off Hope to no end, as it should. Yeah, Cable is, for all intents and purposes, her father. In the middle of arguing with him, though, her eyes glow red. Outside the sphere, the Avengers have called for additional scientific aid, namely from the Fantastic Four. And three of the greatest scientific minds in the Marvel Universe are clueless as to how to deal with this thing. With Captain America's only solution being, Thor, Thor thing, beat the hell out of this barrier. Nimrods continue their fight. And X-Force arrives in the future. Where, among other things, they see a massive poster on a wall. Poster with the faces of various mutants, all listed as slain. That's right, everyone. It's the Days of Future Past future. X-Force is promptly detected by some soldiers working for the Sentinels, and they defeat them. Rogue is tasked with keeping Hope safe. And Cyclops has asked Xavier to convince Legion to help them. Which brings us to Legion helping. So, for those unaware, Legion, the son of Charles Xavier, has all the powers and all the personalities. But he doesn't have all the powers at once, nor does he have all the personalities at once. Generally speaking, each personality of it, each of his various associated personalities has a separate power or power set affixed to it. Now you can manifest them at will. And so, that's the plan. Cyclops is getting some of the non-X-Men mutants on Utopia to help out as well, including Frenzy, Random, Erg, Neophyte, Bling. Hope, understanding that yes, Rogue is there to, keep an eye on her, protect her. Well, Yeah, she's not one for hiding from a fight. It's not how Cable raised her. Rogue says to her, I promised Cyclops that you wouldn't get hurt. And so Hope simply says, then come with me. The battle the battle against the Nimrods is ongoing. And some of the New Mutants dealing with some of them dealing with, well, Nimrods in the Bart tunnels. Others dealing with them on the Golden Gate Bridge. To the point where Colossus ends up with a broken arm, and a very broken arm at that. In the future, X-Force is making their way into the Sentinel camp. And Cypher talks to the hover vehicle piloted by one of them, and manages to take it over. On the Golden Gate Bridge, Legion begins sending his various personalities against the Nimrods, and is actually doing a decent job with it. The X-Men further decide that they will hold the Golden Gate Bridge. X-Force makes their way into the Sentinel facility. And Wolverine is a little worried about the two Master Molds present. On Utopia, the Nimrods have arrived, though and some of the mutants have heeded his call to actually, fight. Random, Scalp Hunter. Toad, however, is, well, Toad. And as the Nimrods have arrived at Utopia, Magneto, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not laying in bed during this. Even with Beast telling him, hey, look, you're in no condition to do this. Magneto actually agrees. It's quite possible he isn't. But there are promises that one makes to oneself, having lived through a Holocaust. Those promises preclude him from watching the extermination of his people in a reclining position. He tells Beast to see to his patients, while Magneto will see to their enemies. And boy, does he. In the future, X-Force is dealing with the Nimrod, or the Master Molds, and they're not having the best of times. But it's explained that they're a diversion, so that Cypher can get in and, well, talk to the Master Mold. The battle along the bridge continues. Hope, Magneto, Rogue, Emma, Cyclops, Storm. Yeah, it's... Well, actually, Magneto's not on the bridge. Magneto's still on Utopia. And with 3 Nimrods around, they suggest that target analysis says Magneto is screwed. However, Magneto reminds them of one thing. The island that they're on was built by him. And he uses the metals within the island to impale the Nimrods. As the island itself was primarily made of iron. In the future, Cypher is communicating with Master Mold, and it's not going well. At first. But he does manage to figure out the pattern of what's being done, the pattern of the data being used to kill him, and turn it on Master Mold. And all the Nimrods suddenly stop. But now comes the big problem. Getting home. The time portal is designed for only inorganic material to pass. And then Cable comes through the portal, having let the techno-organic virus spread through his body. Bastion watches as another part of the plan comes to its close. The rest of X-Force managed to get through the portal. However, before anything can be done for Cable, he died. He explodes. The portal is now gone, and, well, yeah. Bastion's not happy. He shows up on the bridge, having turned 2 of his lieutenants into Sentinels. And Hope just begins channeling powers and potentially even channeling the Phoenix Force. And eventually, she destroys Bastion. And the sphere collapses. The finale is, well, the X-Men dealing with their losses and healing. Hope dealing with the loss of Cable. Beast trying to figure out how to fix Colossus's broken arm. Dr. Nemesis trying to figure out how to fix Angel's damaged wings. Box delivering an artificial leg to Karma. Hellion bitching because, well, Yeah, until Magneto promptly tells him to shut up. Then we get Cable's funeral, during which Cyclops breaks down. And, I mean, it's his son. And so, Hope delivers a eulogy for him. Cyclops pulls Rogue off the combat roster. Indefinitely, no less. Wolverine mourns Nightcrawler in his own way. With booze. Later on, he informs X-23 that she's off the X-Force roster. She thinks she's being punished, but he explains that, he doesn't want to put her through any more of that. But she wants to be told what to do. And Logan just says to her, what do you want? And then he tells her, hey, you want a mission? Give one to yourself. On Alcatraz, Cyclops and Wolverine get ready to destroy all the documents they kept during their while they were running X-Force, with Logan saying, "Hey, I'll take care of most of this. You go back to Utopia." But Logan has his own reason for convincing Cyclops to leave. That reason being, he's recruited a new X-Force, consisting of former member Archangel, as well as Deadpool, Psylocke, and Phantomex. Beast leaves to go back to wherever it is he's been hanging out. And in front of a bonfire, Emma sees what appears to be the Phoenix form in the flames in front of Hope. And 4 new mutant signals have been discovered. Actually 5. And that is where the story ends. Now I want to take a quick moment, show you the back cover, which features the variant cover to well, maybe it was the regular cover of X-Force 27 by Adi Granov. Tell me in the comments. That's supposed to be Cable. Who does he look just like? Look at that face. Yeah, just tell me who in the real world he actually looks like there. I'll tell you, it ain't Josh Brolin. But this is also before Josh Brolin was even thought of to play Cable, so yeah. Anyway, that's all for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long, rock hard, and be safe, everyone.